Sean.
I feel that my brain is tangled.
Your brain is what?
My brain is tangled, just like your headset gets tangled.
Well, I untangle my headset, so can you do the same with your brain? That's the question.
I'm gonna try. That's the objective today. The question is, will anybody notice a difference if I'm successful or not?
It depends.
It depends. It depends who's presenting me and if this is actually real or not.
And if it's you is who you say you are. And
That's
how
right.
do I know?
I'm actually curious. I mean, I doubt anybody's deep faking me at this point, but I don't know. Who knows in 5 years if everybody has a twin or a triplet that's used for something. But that's kind of the topic today, right? So this is part of our Chats on the Road to SecTor in Canada. It's the Informa-led / Black Hat style security conference in Toronto. And I'm excited to cover this event. And I'm thrilled to have Sagar Bhure on. He's from F5, security researcher there, and is doing a lot of work, evidently, with deepfakes and hacking the validation tools that determine whether or not someone is a deepfake or an entity is a deepfake or not. So I'm thrilled to have this chat. He has a session called Hacking Deepfake Image Detection System with White and Black Box Attack. And that's on, Wednesday the 23rd, just a few weeks away. So Sagar, maybe a few words about some of the things you get to research as part of your role, including the deepfake stuff that we're talking about today.
Definitely. Thank you for the warm introduction of mine. I'll give you a slight overview of what the topic and the research that I'm going to present on SecTor Toronto next month. So deepfakes are we all know what deepfakes are. Like, it's created using advanced techniques like generative adversarial network, where there are generators to craft the realistic images while discriminator tries to spot the fake ones. So it's always going to be a cat and a mouse game where hackers or manipulators are trying to create a realistic image. There have been a lot of widespread knowledge base available where it helps you to identify whether an image is deepfake or a genuine or a realistic one. But the algorithm recently has are becoming so sophisticated, powered by the hardware growth, so that with the bare eyes, it's very hard to detect that it's a deepfake or a genuine image. For instance, uh, based on skin textures, I can identify that, hey, is it a deepfake or a realistic image? Based on the mouth movements and the audio sync, I can figure out that, hey, is that video call or video deepfake or not? I mean, a simple change like just altering one bit of an image can trick the classifiers onto labeling a fake as real. So what this cat and the mouse game is all about, or what hacker is trying to do, is try to bypass the image-based detectors to classify their fake image as a real one. So, for example, in 2020, a 17-year-old student recently created a fake Twitter account of a fictional candidate for Rhode Island, I guess, named Andrew Walls, and getting it verified with and getting it verified on a Twitter with AI generated image. That person did not even exist, and he uh, filed for candidature to fight elections back in 2020. So this incident highlights how easily misinformations can exist. These are not just based on candidatures or based on just generating image. We have also seen deep fakes in serious fraud cases. I mean, deep fakes are not just to cause harm on someone's public image. It also leads towards financial frauds. That's where a case from Hong Kong firm case comes, where Hong Kong firm lost at least $20 million due to a deepfake video impersonation, as their CFO joining in the Zoom call and approving a transaction over a call. So, or although it was an example of audio deepfake. So in this session, I'll share such case studies demonstrating how a pixel manipulation of a noise can compromise detection system and bypass a sophisticated deepfakes image-based detection system.
Sean, you are not kidding when you talk about tangling things. Like when you have the deepfake, that the detector or the deepfake, it has to actually fight the hacking out itself. So it's always that good and evil battle that I like to talk about, and how sometimes is what actually make us evolve as a society. It's like there is a problem, we find the solution, and then there is another problem and there is another solution, and that's how we develop. But it's kind of worrisome, Sagar, because maybe you can have the tool to do something like that, and the company and the expert like you, that you can detect the texture in the skin, or the example that you gave. But how do you address this when they go into the public space, like Twitter or X or whatever it's called nowadays? And how do we are able to market as such so that the regular user that doesn't have the tool that you have can be protected?
I mean, I'll use the word secure by design in the way that let's say you talked about Twitter, or let's say, for example, Facebook or Instagram. So they should have a way to avoid miscommunications. I mean, I have when I present this idea to people, they have a different view. Maybe we can talk about that, but you should stop uploading a video if it is artificially generated. So in short, the line between the fake and the real is getting blurred by this generative AI thing. And I think we need to have some rule to control, not to stop, but to control how this artificially generated data, let it be text or images, are used. I mean, I can find 10 good use cases of generative AI as well, right? Of artificially generated images. But there should be a way to control how the generated AI content is used for the good, not for causing financial or reputational damage to anyone.
Yeah, because I think Instagram, I haven't looked at video and whether or not you can flag it as generative AI, but certainly images, you have the option to opt in to say this was supported by some artificial intelligence, or completely, I guess, if you wanted to do that. But I haven't done that because I don't do that. And so I have no idea what the use case or the flow after saying this is AI. I don't know that I've come across anything that has that flag on it either. Because it's not just about that it exists, it's about what happens with it next, right? Does somebody see something and think it's real? Does somebody see somebody and think they're real? Do they look at the message along with it and decide to take some action, or go somewhere, or try to meet somebody, or try to take advantage of somebody based on the information that they're seeing? So I think it all ultimately goes back to the bad actors trying to initiate or instigate an action that benefits them, right, at the expense of others. And so I know that the tools have to follow all the models that create this stuff so that they can then validate whether it's artificially created or not. And I know some of the early text-based tools would flag manually person-written content as computer generated or AI generated. So falsely, the false detection thing, which is another thing that we struggle with just in security. So how do we work through, and I guess this is what your topic's about as well, how do we work through some of the false positives, right? Where, well, there's two cases. One, slipping through and becoming a false negative. So proving something is real when it shouldn't be, but then also the reverse, flagging something that's real as fake. I don't know, it was a mouthful there, but how do we know what's real and what's not if we're relying on tools to do this, and the tools can't keep up with each other?
So there are two ways to do it. Like the first way is using the detection tools like visually detection, which not everyone can do, and with obviously with the with the improvised algorithms and the hardware space, it's really going to tough to detect if it's a deepfake or not. But at present, we have not reached till that age. I can, by visually looking, we can see that it's deepfaked or not. It's tough, but it's possible. But over 5 years, or not even 5 years, over 2 years, this is not going to be the case. We have to strengthen our tools, or we have to strengthen our detection technology, so that we check or we scrutinize every pixel on an image, or every byte in an audio file, to see that if it is a deepfake, or if it is a artificially generated data, or if it is a real data. And it's going to be a cat and mouse game for some time, till we decide on how a robust detection technology is something. And it's also going to be evolving for at least 4 to 5 years, because we'll be having, like, once we have a detection system, we'll have vulnerabilities, just like what I'll be talking about in Toronto next month. So it's going to evolve in short. Right now, there is no perfect detection technologies, because deepfakes are evolving over the period, and so as the detection technologies. So
I know you do the video, right? But the audio, it's a pretty big deepfake, has consequences as well, because there is the video Zoom call, but it's also the phone call, which is much easier if you're doing like phishing and vishing in this case. How do you go with that one where you don't actually have pixel? So you have data bytes, I think, but you don't have the pixel. So if the pixel is the key, that's where I'm going. Can we actually stay ahead of the game with audio as well?
with audio, it's a different game, because all the data uh, channel over there it's different. Uh, but when you combine both of them, it becomes easier, because you have to synchronize between images and audios. It gets easier there. But when you treat both of them separate, you have a data loss, or you have that loss loss of synchronization between image and audio files. So it
So
gets tough.
the video is easier to detect.
Right.
Okay.
And so the audio is harder to detect, but interesting. Okay, you mix them
in-
together, and yeah.
In simple terms, if we want to detect audio defect, think it like that. I have a different way of saying. Maybe I'm stuttering somewhere. Maybe my voice level goes up and down in some words. So if you give me a 10-minute video of audio of yours, I can do a profiling on that, and I can make it in my database. Whenever you call me, I'll match it. Just for example, I match it with that database of how you speak, like how your pitch levels are. Different pitch levels at different moods also. Let's say when you're happy, your pitch levels are like that, like a profiling of everything. And then when I get a new call, I can probably do a detection. In a rough terms, I can do a detection system based on the profiling that I have stored earlier. And then on a rough idea, the algorithm works like that for detecting deepfake audios.
That's interesting. So the more you have of the real person, the real voice, all the real face, because as you can have a certain rhythm in the voice, and you can have a way you breathe, maybe a way you pitch the voice, also in the way you move. Maybe you have a twitch in your eyes or a blinking. But do you think that fed enough video, fed enough audio of the original person to the AI will be able to produce a very legit deepfake? Or do you think there is always going to be a way for the good guys to stay ahead of the game?
Yeah. I think of a lot of, right now you and me have very little to less, but let's say there are personalities like Tom Cruise and big, celebrities. They have huge data set available on YouTube and media platforms. I can download their audio files, and then I can, it's easier for me because I have huge data set, even more than 10 minutes of their data set,
Right.
to create profiling and create deepfakes of.
So, we're talking a lot about the societal, the general user, and things they may interact with, social media and videos online and things like that, and talking about celebrities and politicians and maybe some fraud from a financial perspective against an individual or group of individuals. I'm curious your perspective on the impact to business, because I knew you do some things with OWASP, the LLM Top 10, if I'm not mistaken, which is all about building applications that leverage AI. So I'm wondering what are businesses attempting to do with audio and video, and what risks do they face with the deepfakes and the hacking of the detection systems to say this has been compromised? Are there business use cases that organizations need to be concerned with? I guess that's really my
I
question.
mean, it depends on the business industry of the segment. If you talk about the media outlets or like news organizations, it's pretty obvious. I mean, they have to stop deepfakes, uh, uh, providing misinformations and all that thing, because that's only the source of information people tend to believe. For financial businesses, uh, let's say uh, a deep fake of, like, it's popular for organizations to fall into wishing. Let's say if you remember 20 years or 15 years down the line, if you get a spam mail, it's pretty obvious that typos, links, junk links, that and all. But I can do chat gpt or any llm api to create a nice spam email which will bypass every spam filters. So in the same way, it can bypass getting into your inboxes, clicking on any employee, clicking on that malicious URL, and then the flow is. I mean, any deep fake image also can have link hidden inside it, or a payload hidden inside it. So that's are the flows, like bypassing the spam filters or any firewall for any use case.
That's so interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
It,
Also, Sean,
Yeah.
you may not be a celebrity in that large scale, but I think you have enough podcast and video.
That's what I'm saying. I think there's certainly plenty of food to chew on.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know how many thousands of episodes.
Tell me about this person does not exist.com. I never heard about it before, but I'm intrigued. What is that?
So if you open this person does not exist.com, it will show you a realistic person, but it's not, that person does not exist. It's created by generative adversarial network, which generates images of person who never exist in this world.
So do you use that for training your system as well? Because you can see how AI is actually building the image?
Yes. So to detect deepfakes, one of the sophisticated algorithm is supervised machine learning algorithms, where you have labeled data set of real persons and fake persons, and the fake person data set comes from here, and then you probably train to create a deepfake model.
And you find a pattern that it will tell you if what it could be the difference between one is created or one is not. Fascinating.
I see a world where we have to submit DNA with our a pin prick of the finger, submit some blood with our videos too.
Yeah, and then there'll be deep fake DNA, and then
That's right.
then we go from there.
Then I'll just I'll go sail the ocean.
Then you just have relationship with it's kind of like the world when the robots are going undetected in the real world, and there's always a way to find it, but it's going to be harder and harder. So may as well just live with it.
Yeah. Well, for me, it's always about. I mean, what we're doing is we're making it bigger, better, faster, right? So more people have access; they can do it, and we're making decisions based on this stuff faster than ever as well. So it's keeping up with the scalability of all this. It's really
that was going to be
really
actually the last thing I wanted to mention, like how scalable are the system that you're using and how fast are in detecting. So is this something that could be implemented in large amount, like a YouTube channels, an entire YouTube or a Twitter or a Facebook social media, and how fast can actually start marking content that is deepfake generated?
So images are real time, but videos take some time to process because it depends. Like it's a hour long video or a 10 minutes video. And I'm working towards buffering, like chunking it down 10 minutes video to some quantifiable amount so that it's close to real time. So that even if it is a deepfake video inserted between a long video, it's bypassed or it's blocked by a firewall so that you see an abrupt change in the video from 10 minutes to, let's say, 15 minutes, but you skip the deepfake part of it so that any viewer, as a parental control, let's say, you can not view the deepfake or the misinformation amount of that particular hour-long movie or a video.
Wow, that's cool.
Everything you say, I think of something else. I'm just like 99% of it could be authentic, and just one little nugget dropped in there that's not real, right? How do you spot that? Yeah. Crazy stuff. Well, the best way is to start by connecting with Sagar at SecTor in October 23rd, 10:15 is your session. It's a 45-minute briefing, which is cool. A lot of deep conversations. They're hacking deepfake image detection system with white and black box attacks, which means from outside the system and inside the system. For those who don't know what black and white box testing is, but anyway, Sagar, thanks so much for taking the time to share with us today. And I'm sad I didn't untangle my mind anymore. I think I may have tangled it a bit more with this conversation. But hopefully people join you in Toronto, and hopefully I get to meet some folks there as well and keep the conversation going. Appreciate it, Sagar. Thank you.
Thank you. See you in Toronto. Bye.
And thanks everybody for listening. Please do stay tuned. There are a few other chats from SecTor already available, and I don't know, we might pull a couple more together, and hopefully we'll see everybody in Toronto in October. And stay tuned for more chats on the road. Lots of events coming up. We're actually doing one later today on autonomous vehicles. So a break from security. This is also security, but it's also society. So stay tuned. Thanks, everybody.
Take care.